everybody will remember the embarrassing performance from Napoli in their home defeat against AC Milan only 10, 14 days ago, something like that. 4-0 they were beaten by Milan. Was it going to be something different this time around, Jonathan Johnson? It was a closer game, but AC Milan get the job done thanks to Ismail Benacer with a beautiful goal 40 minutes into the game. The 25-year-old's first goal since August 2022, his first ever Champions League goal. Lovely little assist from Leao and Diaz, who were very good once again. Maybe the goalkeeper, Mere, could have done a bit better there, JJ. But at the end of the day, not a good performance from Napoli. And once again, going down a man with Anguissa receiving a second yellow-red and off. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think I would say that it's a bit harsh to maybe question Mire on the goal, because I thought, I mean, it was a fantastically worked goal. That turn from Diaz basically takes out the entirety of the Napoli midfield, and AC Milan were left to attack at will, and it was a really well executed counter attack. But equally, I think the key battle that was lost by Napoli in this one was the battle of mentality. You could see the team crumbling and falling apart just around halftime once they'd gone behind. I mean, the crazy thing is Napoli could have scored within about 60 to 120 seconds when they had that opportunity very, very early on through Kvicha. I mean, I don't know if the opportunity came to him too early, but, Milan, all hands to the pump almost immediately in the game. Mike Maignan called into action very early, but then suddenly, about midway through the first half, the tie completely flips. Milan get that goal, the go-ahead goal 5 minutes before halftime. They could have had a second when Chiar as well hits the crossbar with a really powerful header. And after that, Napoli are pretty much chasing the game. But it's that moment of madness, that sort of 5-minute spell where Anguissa picks up 2 bookings. Kim also gets himself in the book, which suspends him for the next game. Suddenly missing those 2 players, not being 100% certain that osimhen will be back as well for that second leg. Suddenly Napoli look like they have a mountain to climb and can feel very, very fortunate that they didn't concede that second goal to Milan, because there were, opportunities. Milan had a penalty shout late on as well that they felt aggrieved about. But I think the most worrying thing, if you're Spalletti, is looking at what that's doing to Napoli mentally. They're too far ahead, I think, in Serie A for it to really factor domestically. But in terms of the remaining hopes that they have for the rest of this season, he's got to get a lid on that now, because they still are in this tie as long as they believe that they're in this tie. And by the looks of things, the way that some of the players were reacting and getting at each other's throats later on in that game, I'm not so sure that they believe it. Maybe not so much so, when they don't have their talisman Osimhen on the pitch with them.
Yeah. One of the things that, and I love you bring up the mentality aspect, because that's exactly what I saw. One of the things that I've loved and admired about this Napoli team has been the way they put the game on their terms throughout the season. Doesn't matter whether it's going to Anfield, whether it's playing whoever is on the schedule, they've gone and asserted themselves. Today, without Victor Osimhen, you see the physical presence of Osimhen missing, and really the AC Milan bullied them throughout the field. There were times where Theo Hernandez, who's not known to be a physically assertive player in terms of dominating physically, he was getting stuck in, getting the crowd going, and you could see Napoli shrink.
Theo Hernandez not getting stuck in, that guy's a nut job, man. That guy gets fired in everywhere. What are you talking about?
Well, he gets red cards. That's where the nut job goes in. But I think 50-50 duels against a Napoli side, if this is a different side, that is something Napoli, roll up your sleeves, their midfield, their outside backs. That's what I'm talking about. That's where Napoli has asserted themselves in prior matchups. And you just see the lingering nature of not just the 4-0 defeat, but the narrow win against Lecce. This was always going to be an uphill task for Napoli. They kept it close, but I think in the second half, the Brahim Diaz turn, that is just world-class. Since the game in Naples, he is just playing at a different level, much like we saw him play at times last season in the title run-in. Bigger worrying sign, the Kim Min-jae suspension. That is a massive loss for them. You get a positive potentially with Osimhen coming back, but that defensively, you're losing your rock in a game that if you concede, yes, scoring goals is one thing, but the name of the game is not conceding and teeing it up for Victor Osimhen. Now there's even bigger question marks in the second leg.
Hold on, Nigel, before you jump in here real quickly, we've got to just give a round of applause here because Nigel Real Cookers, his missus, just stepped. Zero, the hero, jumping in. That's Nigel's missus. The legend Real Coker.
That is not my missus.
Take it away.
He and your egg. JJ and Mike are right. I think for me, I'm going to be very brief about it. If producer Des would have run the tape of what I said yesterday, Osimhen is the key factor. Without their Superman and their Spider-Man, whatever it is, Napoli are not the same team. They have great possession at times in the edge of the box against AC Milan. Osimhen offers that different threat. You know, they're looking for the cutback. They're looking for the complete total football goal. With Osimhen, you can just open up your hips, put a ball into the back of the net. I think how they stopped kvaratskhelia was fantastic. AC Milan, they deserve credit. And that is how you stop someone that good. If you know he's got pace, you know he's got the ability to beat you, to go inside, outside, get tight. AC Milan got tight quick, didn't give him the opportunity to get a momentum of running to be able to beat players. They kept him quiet. And I think now it comes when kvaratskhelia has to add different aspect to his game. If I look at one of the greatest wingers that I ever saw, it was Ryan Giggs. Ryan Giggs' football intelligence was second to none, can beat players inside out. So it's all about movement and body and positioning. But for me, the biggest thing is this. Without Osimhen, Napoli are struggling. They're still in the tie. Anything can happen. But
Hold
this
on,
second... Huh?
Can I jump in real quickly?
Yeah,
And
go
just say you're saying they're still in the tie, but I just want to remind you, no Kim Min-jae now, he's suspended. No Anguissa, he's also suspended, and possibly no Osimhen. So you still believe, minus those three, that they're still in the tie?
I still do. I still think playing at home is a massive advantage. And it depends on, basically, for me, I think it's how the manager puts it to them. Because really and truly, you've won Serie A. That title is yours. This is your biggest cup final. And you know what it's like, Ian and Mike, when it's such a big game and you know what's at stake and it's just one game, anything can happen. I feel it's all about the mentality. I'm going to go outside the box. What they need to do is pick one day from now till next week and go on an absolute team piss up. Go get drunk, go hug each other, go get steaming and get ready for next week, because that is what's needed.
Could you tell producer Des that we need to do that as well with the House of Champions team, boys? That needs to happen soon again.
People might think I'm crazy, but it's happened many times when teams have done that, when they've got their backs against the wall, things are going tough. A couple of guys have gone out. They've gone out for a few nights on the row, having some drinks and just relax.
But PSG are the case study that doesn't work.
That's PSG, mate. I didn't say go for and gamble
6 times a week, and it's they can't bring it in the biggest games. What I wanted to actually add on your point was, though, I think this actually completely plays out away from the pitch now, this second leg. If Osimhen doesn't come back, Napoli won't go through, because you're taking out arguably their key player in each position, with Kim suspended, Anguissa suspended, and then potentially Osimhen, out, or at least, semi-fit. I mean, that is a realistic scenario going into this game, that he's only fit enough to be on the bench. And if that's the case, I didn't see enough teeth in this Napoli side, to come through against Milan, even if they are at home. And I do take Nigel's point that, that home advantage will count a lot in that second leg. And, I think when you look at the likes of Mario Rui, Romani as well, these guys get rattled quite easily, or got rattled quite easily during this game. And it's going to be difficult for Spalletti to clear his players' heads because of that. So there is a lot of pressure that's going to be sort of put on Osimhen to be fit. And if he gets rushed back, maybe too soon, that can also potentially have disastrous circumstances, not just for Napoli in this tie, but Napoli for the remainder of the season.
Yeah, one player. Yeah, go on.
The thing as well, JJ and Mike, what you got to remember, and Ian, Napoli, like JJ said, they could have been 1-0 up in the first minute of this game. So it's not like you went there, didn't have no chances. They had chances. So that's still going to be an element of belief that they can still win this game.
One player, and I'm so glad you're talking about rattled, and that I'm seeing Lobotka looked rattled today. I think the likes of a Sandro Tonali, he deserves credit for how he's showed up in the last 2 weeks against Napoli. AC Milan, they have a bit of bite. They have momentum going against them. They won't care one lick what's happening in the league. Yes, they're in the top 4 race. This is where their season comes down to. Napoli still most likely will get Serie A. We all believe that. We are all for that, because I think Serie A needs that. But this is an AC Milan team. When you have momentum at your back, you just feel that sense of, okay, we got these guys. That's a powerful thing. Doesn't matter what's happening off the field. Doesn't matter what's happening in that stadium. Yes, Victor Osimhen coming back, that is massive. But the mental win, the mental game. That's a whole nother stratosphere that you're playing on. And you could very well, if Victor Osimhen's not fit, you could very well already have won the tie. And that's what it's going to come down to. Victor Osimhen, his health.
By the way, they could have scored. You're all talking about the goal early on. They could have scored in the last minutes of the game. It was a great save from Magnan at the top corner. I'm not sure, was it Raspadori who hit it in the top corner? I can't remember who it was who hit it in the top corner, but that was a hell of a save.
It was a striker that came on. I forgot the name, but yeah, it was the flick on header.